Controlling your thoughts is the single most important skill you can develop to lead a fulfilling, successful, and balanced life. Every day, your mind is flooded with thousands of thoughts, some helpful, some harmful, some neutral. Many of these thoughts appear spontaneously, without your conscious direction, and yet they shape your reality in ways more powerful than almost anything else. The moment you understand that your mind is not a passive observer, but a tool under your guidance, your life begins to transform. You begin to recognize that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the author of your inner world, and consequently, the architect of your life. The first step in taking control of your thoughts is awareness. Awareness is the gentle, deliberate act of noticing what is happening in your mind without judgment. Imagine standing on a hill, watching a river flow below. Some currents move swiftly, carrying debris and leaves, while others are calm, clear, and reflective. Your thoughts are like that river. Some are urgent, demanding attention and full of worry or fear, while others are creative, inspiring, and solution-oriented. Observing them without becoming entangled allows you to choose which thoughts to engage with and which to release. The more you practice this, the stronger your mental muscle becomes, and the less power destructive thoughts have over your emotions and actions. Alongside awareness, self-discipline is a cornerstone of thought control. Self-discipline is not about forcing yourself harshly, but about creating structures and habits that guide your thinking. It is the bridge between knowing what thoughts serve you and actually living them. A disciplined mind doesn't react impulsively to every emotional spike. It pauses, evaluates, and responds thoughtfully. Establishing morning routines, journaling daily, and setting intentions are simple but powerful ways to cultivate self-discipline. Even a few minutes a day spent intentionally directing your thoughts can accumulate into profound changes over time. Equally important is understanding the power of the questions you ask yourself. Your questions shape your perception, influence your emotions, and determine your actions. Consider the difference between asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" versus, "What can I learn from this situation?" The first question traps your mind in negativity, while the second redirects it toward growth and solutions. Similarly, replacing "What if I fail?" with "What can I do to succeed?" shifts your mental energy from fear to action. The questions you habitually ask yourself are like seeds planted in fertile soil. The thoughts that grow from them determine the quality of your life experience. Visualization is another powerful tool to train your mind. When you vividly imagine the outcomes you desire, your brain begins to recognize them as possibilities and starts guiding your behavior accordingly. Elite athletes, successful entrepreneurs, and creative thinkers all use visualization as a mental rehearsal to improve performance and clarity. When your mind has a clear target, distractions lose their power, and your actions align with your goals naturally. Picture your ideal life, feel the emotions associated with it, and allow this mental image to guide your daily decisions and thought patterns. Emotional awareness and regulation are integral to mastering your mind. Thoughts and emotions are deeply interconnected. Uncontrolled emotions can hijack your mental processes. Fear, anger, and resentment amplify unproductive thoughts, while gratitude, curiosity, and confidence reinforce positive thinking. Learning to identify your emotions, understanding their source, and consciously choosing how to respond to them creates a feedback loop of control. Controlled emotions lead to controlled thoughts. which in turn result in more deliberate and effective actions, creating a cycle that shapes the reality you desire. Practical exercises, such as mental journaling, reinforce thought control. Begin each day by writing down the thoughts occupying your mind. Reflect on recurring worries or limiting beliefs and challenge them with evidence from your life that contradicts negativity. For instance, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," counter that thought with tangible examples of past successes, skills you've mastered, and challenges you've overcome. Over time, this practice retrains your brain to automatically redirect harmful thoughts into constructive insights. Repetition is also key to reinforcing a controlled mindset. The mind, like a muscle, strengthens through regular practice. Daily affirmations, mindfulness exercises, and intentional focus sessions program your brain to prioritize empowering thoughts. Repeatedly choosing productive, positive, and growth-oriented thoughts transforms mental habits into automatic responses. Eventually, your mind will operate in a state of clarity even under stress, allowing you to respond rather than react to life's challenges. Your environment plays a significant role in shaping your thoughts. The people you interact with, the media you consume, and the spaces you inhabit influence the quality of your mental life. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift, challenge, and inspire you. Limit exposure to negativity, gossip, and fear-driven narratives. Protecting your mental environment is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect and a critical step toward mastery of your thoughts. The more consciously you curate your external influences, the easier it becomes to maintain internal control. Mindful breathing and meditation are additional tools that strengthen mental control. Even a few minutes of focused breathing each day reduces mental clutter and anchors you in the present moment. Meditation trains your mind to return to awareness whenever it wanders, building both attention and resilience. This practice also cultivates emotional balance, enabling you to observe unhelpful thoughts without becoming entangled in them. A calm, clear mind is the fertile soil in which productive thoughts grow, making these practices invaluable for long-term mental mastery. Beliefs are the foundation upon which thoughts are built. Every thought is filtered through the lens of your core beliefs, some empowering, some limiting. To take control of your mind, examine these beliefs critically. Ask yourself, is this belief true? Does it serve me? Does it lead me toward the life I want? When you identify limiting beliefs, consciously challenge and replace them with empowering alternatives. The thoughts your mind generates will naturally align with these stronger, more constructive beliefs, creating a virtuous cycle of growth and possibility. Another critical principle is deliberate mental focus. In a world full of distractions, the ability to direct attention is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Focused attention amplifies the effect of every thought, turning intention into action. Techniques like the Pomodoro method, goal setting, and prioritizing high-value tasks all enhance your ability to think clearly and act decisively. When you control your attention, you control the trajectory of your thoughts and the outcomes they produce. Self-talk is equally vital. The internal dialogue you maintain either empowers you or diminishes your potential. Negative self-talk reinforces doubt, fear, and indecision, while positive self-talk cultivates confidence, resilience, and creativity. Becoming aware of the tone, content, and frequency of your self-talk allows you to replace criticism with encouragement, fear with curiosity, and hesitation with action. By intentionally shaping the conversations you have with yourself, you harness the power of thought to fuel your personal growth. Visualization, reflection, and planning all work together to align your thoughts with meaningful action. By consistently visualizing desired outcomes, reflecting on past experiences, and planning actionable steps, you create a coherent mental ecosystem. Your thoughts become more strategic, purposeful, and effective. Each thought carries the potential to generate profound results, and when guided by intentionality, this potential is fully realized. Finally, control over your thoughts is a lifelong journey, not a one-time achievement. Even the most disciplined and aware individuals experience mental wandering, doubt, and distraction. The key is persistence, compassion, and commitment. Each moment offers a choice to engage with thoughts that empower or those that undermine. By practicing awareness, self-discipline, reflection, and intentional focus daily, you cultivate a mind that is resilient, clear, and aligned with your highest aspirations. This is not just mental control. It is freedom, purpose, and mastery over your life. Your mind is your most valuable asset. Every thought you nurture, every belief you reinforce, and every moment of awareness you practice compounds over time to create the life you live. The choice to control your thoughts is the choice to shape your reality, to move intentionally toward growth, and to live with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Begin today, start small, and build consistently. Over time, the power to control your thoughts will transform not just your mind, but every aspect of your life. Every individual experiences moments when the mind seems to spiral out of control, when thoughts race faster than reason can follow, when emotions hijack judgment, and when clarity feels distant. These moments are universal, yet they need not define your reality. To control your thoughts is to reclaim authority over your life, to step out of reaction and into intention, and to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. The mind is not an uncontrollable storm, but a tool of immense power that can be guided with awareness, practice, and discipline. The first element in mastering thought control is to understand the nature of thoughts themselves. Thoughts are not inherently you. They are signals, interpretations, and patterns generated by the brain in response to stimuli. Some thoughts arise from conscious reasoning, others from subconscious conditioning shaped by upbringing, culture, and experience. Recognizing that thoughts are separate from identity is liberating. You are not your doubts, fears, or insecurities. You are the observer of these thoughts. This perspective creates the space necessary to choose which thoughts to nurture and which to release. Observation without judgment is the foundation of mental mastery. Equally critical is the recognition of habitual thought patterns. Many people experience recurring negative thoughts that cycle endlessly, creating self-fulfilling prophecies of limitation. Awareness allows you to identify these patterns, but deliberate intervention is required to break them. One method is to practice mental tagging. Notice each thought and label it as helpful, neutral, or unhelpful. By doing so, you begin to create separation between yourself and the thought, reducing its automatic influence. Over time, this practice strengthens the mind's ability to reject unproductive thinking and favor thoughts that serve purpose, growth, and clarity. Discipline amplifies the power of awareness. While noticing your thoughts is essential, sustained self-discipline ensures that the mind aligns with intention. Mental discipline is cultivated through consistent practices that anchor the mind, such as daily meditation, structured reflection, and conscious focus exercises. Discipline does not suppress creativity or spontaneity. Instead, it channels mental energy toward productive avenues. Just as a well-trained athlete converts potential energy into precise, impactful motion, a disciplined mind converts thought into intentional action. The questions you pose to yourself determine the trajectory of your thinking. Internal inquiry is more powerful than most realize. Asking, "Why can't I succeed?" creates a mental environment of doubt, whereas asking, "What steps can I take to achieve success?" redirects energy towards solutions and constructive action. Your habitual questions act as the architects of your mental environment. To master thought, cultivate the habit of asking questions that empower, inspire, and challenge your mind toward growth. By consciously curating these internal inquiries, you begin to influence the outcomes that your thoughts generate. Visualization and mental rehearsal are powerful tools for directing thoughts. By vividly imagining desired outcomes, you condition your mind to recognize possibilities and align your behavior with goals. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It is a deliberate, practical method for creating clarity, focus, and resilience. Professionals across industries, from athletes to entrepreneurs, use visualization to prepare for challenges, rehearse decisions, and solidify confidence. When your mind has a clear blueprint of the desired outcome, thoughts naturally align with strategies to achieve it, reducing hesitation, distraction, and fear. Emotional intelligence is inseparable from thought control. Emotions act as amplifiers of thought patterns. Unchecked fear, anger, or frustration magnify destructive thinking, while gratitude, curiosity, and confidence enhance clarity and creativity. Learning to recognize and interpret emotions allows you to choose responses consciously. Name the emotion, understand its source, and decide whether to act upon it or let it pass. This practice establishes a feedback loop. Controlled emotions produce controlled thoughts, which in turn produce intentional actions, reinforcing the capacity for resilience and growth. One practical method to strengthen mental control is the use of journaling. By recording your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, you create a mirror for the mind. Observing patterns and recurring themes illuminates areas where intervention is needed. Challenge limiting thoughts with evidence from your life, past successes, skills mastered, and lessons learned. Over time, journaling rewires the brain to prioritize constructive thinking, transforming reflection into a tool of empowerment rather than rumination. Repetition is central to building mental strength. The mind, like a muscle, develops resilience and precision through consistent training. Daily practice of positive affirmations, focused attention exercises, and intentional reflection reinforces constructive thought patterns. Over weeks and months, this consistent effort turns productive thinking into a habit, creating a baseline of mental clarity and emotional regulation that persists even under stress. A disciplined mind responds rather than reacts, operates with foresight rather than impulse, and navigates life with purpose and poise. The environment you cultivate profoundly impacts thought quality. Surround yourself with influences that nurture, inspire, and challenge you. Minimize exposure to negativity, gossip, and fear-driven narratives. While external circumstances cannot always be controlled, the information, people, and content you allow into your mind can. Protecting mental space is not an act of avoidance. It is an act of respect and intentionality, forming the foundation for thought mastery. Your mental environment acts as fertile soil, determining which thoughts grow, thrive, or wither. Mindful breathing and meditation anchor thought in the present. Even short daily sessions of focused breathing can reduce mental clutter, enhance clarity, and cultivate resilience. Meditation trains the mind to return to the present moment whenever distraction occurs, building both awareness and control. Through these practices, you develop the ability to observe thoughts without being swept away, enabling calm decision-making and deliberate action. A mind trained in presence is equipped to handle complexity without being dominated by chaos. Beliefs underpin thought patterns. Every thought arises from underlying assumptions, perspectives, and internalized narratives. Limiting beliefs distort reality, reinforcing doubt and self-sabotage, while empowering beliefs foster clarity, resilience, and creative problem-solving. Examine each belief critically. Ask whether it is true, whether it serves your growth, and whether it aligns with your desired reality. Actively replace limiting beliefs with constructive, empowering alternatives. This practice transforms the foundation upon which thoughts are built, ensuring that future mental patterns align with purpose and possibility. Focus and attention management are critical for thought mastery. In an age of endless distraction, the ability to direct mental energy intentionally is invaluable. Structured techniques such as prioritization, goal setting, and time blocking enhance focus. Deliberate attention amplifies thought effectiveness, ensuring that energy is applied to what matters rather than dissipated in random mental noise. Each moment of focused thought compounds, creating tangible progress toward personal, professional, and emotional goals. Self-talk shapes the narrative of your internal life. The tone, content, and frequency of inner dialogue either empower or diminish potential. Negative self-talk entrenches doubt, fear, and hesitation, while positive self-talk cultivates confidence, resilience, and clarity. By consciously observing and directing internal dialogue, you leverage the mind's natural capacity to reinforce either constructive or destructive thought patterns. The conversation you maintain with yourself is one of the most powerful levers of mental influence available to you. The integration of visualization, reflection, and planning aligns thoughts with meaningful action. Reflect on past experiences, visualize desired outcomes, and plan actionable steps to bridge the gap between current reality and aspirational goals. These combined practices create a coherent mental ecosystem where thoughts naturally lead to effective action. Each thought becomes an instrument of purpose, guiding decisions, behaviors, and emotional responses toward growth and success. Control over thoughts is a lifelong endeavor. Even the most disciplined minds experience wandering, doubt, and distraction. The key is persistence, patience, and self-compassion. Every moment presents a choice: to engage with empowering thoughts or those that limit potential. By committing to daily practices of awareness, reflection, discipline, and intentional focus, you cultivate resilience, clarity, and mental freedom. Mastery of thought is not perfection. It is consistency, self-awareness, and the conscious shaping of your inner life. Focus and attention management are critical for thought mastery. In an age of endless distraction, the ability to direct mental energy intentionally is invaluable. Structured techniques such as prioritization, goal setting, and time blocking enhance focus. Deliberate attention amplifies thought effectiveness, ensuring that energy is applied to what matters, rather than dissipated in random mental noise. Every day, the mind presents countless opportunities to shape reality through thought. Most people drift through these moments unconsciously, allowing random impulses, past experiences, and external influences to dictate their mental landscape. Controlling your thoughts means stepping into the role of deliberate observer and active participant, recognizing that you hold the ultimate authority over what occupies your mind. This is not a trivial skill. It is the foundation for emotional stability, strategic decision-making, creativity, and personal fulfillment. To take control is to reclaim energy that would otherwise be wasted on fear, doubt, or reactive thinking. One of the most powerful ways to gain mastery is through structured reflection. By taking dedicated time each day to examine your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, patterns begin to emerge. You start to notice recurring themes, automatic judgments, and habitual fears. This clarity creates the opportunity for intervention. Rather than being swept along by mental momentum, you can pause, evaluate, and consciously redirect thought toward constructive outcomes. Reflection is the lens through which awareness becomes actionable, and over time, it develops into a habit that shapes every area of life. Habits form the framework for thought control. The brain naturally seeks efficiency, often defaulting to repetitive patterns and autopilot thinking. By intentionally designing routines, you shape the flow of thoughts before they even arise. Morning rituals, structured planning, focused work sessions, and mindfulness exercises all create predictable mental pathways. The repetition of intentional actions strengthens neural connections associated with constructive thinking while weakening pathways that lead to distraction, worry, or negativity. Through consistent habit formation, mental control shifts from effortful to automatic, creating a baseline of clarity and focus. Emotional regulation is inseparable from thought mastery. Emotions act as accelerators of thought patterns. They can amplify clarity, creativity, and resolve, or magnify fear, doubt, and indecision. Learning to observe emotions without judgment allows you to respond intentionally, recognize anger without reacting aggressively, feel fear without freezing, notice sadness without sinking. Emotional intelligence creates the environment in which thought control can flourish, because a mind overwhelmed by unmanaged emotions cannot sustain focus or make deliberate choices. The practice of acknowledging emotions while maintaining mental authority strengthens resilience and cultivates inner stability. Visualization and mental rehearsal continue to be critical tools. By repeatedly imagining desired outcomes, mentally walking through challenges, and picturing success, the brain begins to internalize possibilities and identify actionable steps. Visualization is not a passive exercise. It trains neural circuits to recognize opportunity, enhance confidence, and prepare for obstacles before they occur. When practiced consistently, the mind becomes an anticipatory instrument, ready to respond with clarity, creativity, and strategic precision in real-world situations. These mental rehearsals transform abstract aspirations into actionable paths, giving thought the power to shape reality. Beliefs, whether conscious or subconscious, govern the trajectory of thought. Limiting beliefs act as unseen barriers, subtly directing attention toward fear, doubt, or failure. Empowering beliefs, by contrast, amplify courage, focus, and potential. To control your thoughts, it is necessary to examine the beliefs that underlie them. Question the assumptions that guide your automatic thinking. Challenge narratives that no longer serve you and replace them with constructive alternatives that align with your goals. This process rewires the foundation of the mind, ensuring that future thoughts naturally support growth, resilience, and opportunity. Focus, attention, and deliberate mental energy are central to effective thought control. In a world saturated with stimuli, maintaining attention is a form of mastery. Structured approaches such as goal setting, time blocking, and prioritization create the conditions for focused thinking. The ability to sustain attention enables deeper problem solving, creative insight, and intentional decision-making. Each moment of focused thought compounds, producing measurable progress and strengthening the mind's capacity to remain present amidst distractions. Mastery of attention is the gateway to mastery of thought. Self-talk continues to shape the internal environment of the mind. The stories we tell ourselves, the tone we adopt, and the questions we ask internally become the backdrop against which thoughts emerge. Negative self-talk reinforces limiting patterns and magnifies fear, whereas constructive internal dialogue fosters confidence, adaptability, and emotional regulation. By cultivating deliberate self-talk, you redirect the narrative of your inner world. Encouragement replaces doubt, curiosity replaces judgment, and strategic reflection replaces rumination. The conversation you maintain with yourself is one of the most potent tools for shaping mental clarity, resilience, and purposeful action. Environmental factors are subtle yet powerful influencers of thought. The people we interact with, the content we consume, and the spaces we inhabit form the backdrop against which mental patterns develop. Surround yourself with influences that challenge, inspire, and reinforce constructive thinking. Reduce exposure to environments, media, and individuals that amplify fear, negativity, or distraction. Protecting the mind from destructive input is an act of intentionality, enabling thought patterns to remain aligned with purpose, growth, and clarity. A curated mental environment amplifies the effectiveness of awareness, discipline, and reflection. Repetition and consistency fortify mental control. Just as physical strength grows through progressive exercise, the mind becomes resilient through repeated practice. Daily reflection, mindfulness, meditation, and visualization build a neural foundation that favors constructive thought patterns. Over weeks and months, these practices become second nature, creating an automatic tendency toward clarity, focus, and positive action. Discipline transforms into habit, and habit forms the baseline from which mental mastery expands into every aspect of life. The integration of reflection, habit formation, and mental rehearsal creates a coherent internal ecosystem. Each element reinforces the other. Awareness allows for observation of thought, reflection identifies patterns, habit anchors, intention, and rehearsal strengthens neural pathways. Within this framework, thoughts are no longer random or reactive. They become deliberate instruments of purpose, aligned with long-term goals and personal values. The mind becomes an ally, capable of navigating complexity, uncertainty, and pressure with resilience and clarity. Challenges, setbacks, and unexpected events are inevitable. Mastery of thought does not eliminate difficulty, but equips the mind to respond rather than react. A controlled mind evaluates circumstances with clarity, filters unnecessary emotional noise, and identifies constructive options. Resilience is born not from avoiding hardship, but from navigating it with deliberate, intentional thought. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to reinforce control, strengthen habits, and expand the capacity for focus, reflection, and adaptive thinking. Mastery of thought is lifelong, evolving, and reinforced through real-world application. The journey of mental mastery is continuous, requiring patience, commitment, and self-compassion. Even experienced practitioners encounter wandering thoughts, doubt, and distraction. Progress is measured not in perfection, but in the consistent practice of awareness, reflection, and intentional redirection. Each moment of conscious thought contributes to a cumulative effect, strengthening resilience, enhancing clarity, and amplifying personal efficacy. Mastery of thought is therefore both the process and the outcome, a dynamic interplay of observation, intervention, and deliberate mental construction. Through disciplined attention, reflective practice, emotional awareness, and intentional self-talk, the mind transforms from a passive stream of random activity into a deliberate instrument of empowerment. Thoughts shape reality more profoundly than actions alone, because every choice, every behavior, and every decision emerges from the mental environment you cultivate. By consistently guiding, shaping, and observing thoughts, you create a life that reflects intention, purpose, and clarity. The power to control your mind is the power to control your experience, influence your results, and live with conscious agency. This mastery extends beyond personal achievement to interpersonal effectiveness. A controlled mind allows for better listening, empathy, and understanding, reducing reactive behaviors in social contexts. When thoughts are guided by awareness rather than impulse, communication becomes intentional, decisions become measured, and relationships thrive. The quality of your mental life reverberates into the quality of your interactions, reinforcing the significance of thought control not only for personal growth, but also for meaningful connection and leadership. As mental clarity strengthens, the ability to innovate, problem-solve, and create deepens. Controlled thought facilitates insight, creativity, and strategic thinking by filtering distractions and highlighting actionable ideas. The mind, disciplined yet flexible, becomes a generator of solutions, a compass in complex situations, and a source of confidence in decision-making. The power to control your thoughts is the foundation of every meaningful action, every personal achievement, and every moment of fulfillment. Your mind is not a passive observer, but a tool of immense power, shaping your decisions, emotions, and reality. Every thought you nurture, every belief you reinforce, and every moment of awareness you practice compounds, creating a life that reflects intention rather than circumstance. The Motivational Audiobook Spot reminds you that thought control is not about denying fear, doubt, or negative impulses. It's about recognizing them, understanding their origin, and consciously choosing which thoughts to cultivate and which to release. Each act of awareness, reflection, and deliberate focus strengthens the mind, turning reactive patterns into intentional, productive thinking. Small, consistent practices, mindful observation, disciplined habits, visualization, emotional regulation, and strategic self-talk accumulate into profound transformation, reshaping both your inner world and the life you live. The Motivational Audiobook Spot emphasizes that mastery of thought is not perfection, it's consistency, patience, and self-compassion, the mind will wander, doubts will arise, and emotions will spike. But each time you redirect your attention, challenge a limiting belief, or reaffirm an empowering thought, you are building resilience, clarity, and control. Over time, these deliberate actions become automatic, creating a mental environment where clarity, purpose, and intentionality thrive. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your reality, and by consistently guiding them, you harness the ultimate power, the power to respond rather than react, to create rather than drift, and to live with conscious agency. As you carry these principles forward, let them guide every decision, every action, and every choice, transforming challenges into opportunities and uncertainty into clarity. The Motivational Audiobook Spot stands as a reminder that within you lies the ability to master your mind, shape your reality, and craft a life of focus, purpose, and fulfillment. Embrace this power, practice daily, and step confidently into the life you are capable of creating, knowing that thought mastery is both your right and your responsibility. Every thought matters, every decision counts, and every moment is an opportunity to move closer to the clarity, strength, and intentional living that define a life fully mastered.